Imagine a world where you send a funny meme of Winnie the Pooh on the internet, only for it to be censored. Welcome to China, infamous for being the Iron Curtain of internet censorship. On the other side of the globe in America, imagine a world where you can say anything, including an anti-Hispanic manifesto on 8chan, which then sparks the 2019 mass shooting in El Paso, Texas. These two situations, though seemingly unrelated, are two sides of the same coin: internet censorship. And the coin is spinning rapidly, causing problems for everyone. The question is now, heads or tails? Hello, Oliver Kim here from BTN, and today we gotta talk about internet censorship. What is it, you may ask? Well, the Encyclopedia of Information Science and Technology defines it as the control or suppression of what can be viewed on the internet being carried out by governments or private organizations. It's an important issue that affects us all, only becoming larger the more we become internet dependent. And the million-dollar question now is, how much? How much must we censor? How much must we set free? Us Zoomers unknowingly represent the 5.16 billion internet users around the globe. We are the future generation that must take action to stop this issue, for our own sake, for the future, for everyone. However, with so many conflicting opinions around us, it's hard to make the right choice, which is why I'm here to give you the TLDR. So, let's get right into it. If we consider the internet as being a Wild West, we quickly see why internet censorship exists in the first place: to protect others from endangering content. While examples of an internet without borders are few and far between, there are glimpses of it in our public domain. One of those glimpses is 8chan, an image board forum which boasts minor interaction from admins and also being a free speech friendly site. On paper, it sounds like a haven, a place where you can share controversial opinions without criticism. However, 8chan inadvertently became a breeding ground for hate, where white supremacism, neo-Nazism, alt-rightism, and anti-Semitism thrive. Beforehand, I said that an anti-Hispanic manifesto on 8chan sparked the 2019 El Paso shooting. The shooter, Patrick Wood Crusius, wrote the manifesto to express his anti-immigrant and neo-fascist views, with the document speaking of a Hispanic invasion in Texas, warning others that white people were being replaced by foreigners. These views are common on 8chan, and it's most likely that Patrick was an avid user due to his connections with the site. And since his views are rare, and on 8chan they are commonplace, it can be argued that if 8chan didn't exist, Patrick wouldn't have developed these kinds of anti-Hispanic views. The motive for these shootings would have never existed. If not for the toxic content provided on the site, he wouldn't have become an extremist, as the site's creator, Frederick Manan, talks about here.
I think a lot of the users of these boards start out as kind of being disillusioned, but they're not all the way there yet. They're not going to want to look at something with a swastika on it. But on the internet, you can dabble in Nazism, and you can see if it suits you, you can see if it's your kind of gig, and pretty soon you're, a hardcore Nazi.
This is but one of many horrific sites which host toxic content. Do you really want this site, along with its lookalikes, to be accessible? Is this the side of the coin we really want? As you could tell, a censorless cyberspace isn't bang for our buck. However, it's the same with a censor-full web, changing the internet from a Wild West into a full-blown dystopia. You guys remember China? Well, it's the second most populous country in the world, housing 1.4 billion people and 1.05 billion internet users. It's also one of the most censored cyberspaces in the world. The human rights organization Freedom House assessed the level of internet freedom in 70 countries, marking a country's internet freedom from 0 to 100, with the higher the index, the freer the cyberspace. According to them, China's a measly 9 out of 100, the lowest freedom index. According to the Australian Human Rights Commission, the internet should be a realization to the right of freedom of expression due to the internet's unique characteristics. However, even though China has the most internet users in the world, its cyberspace is not a realization of this. On the contrary, it censors information, prevents access to multiple sites, and blots out multitudes of content. Remember Winnie the Pooh? It's not only a society that doesn't acknowledge freedom of speech, but is actively against it. That's why China has a 9 out of 100 rating with internet freedom, and also, according to Freedom House, a 9 out of 100 rating with global freedom. This is the problem with China and a heavily censored cyber world. It endangers free speech and affects 1.4 billion lives. And if this can happen with a developed country like China, then it can also happen to us too. As bad as the other side of the coin, no? Now, with all of that in mind, which cyberspace must we choose? A censorless server filled with endangering content, or a censorful web that prevents freedom of expression? Heads or tails? That is the question. Well, here's what I do. Choose none. Stop the coin from spinning and flick it away. Balance, balance, balance. It's the only way to save our cyberspace. And it's a truth not only held by me, but also the Guardian and the United Nations. So what would this balanced internet look like? Well, the Australian Human Rights Commission views the internet as a realization of the right to the freedom of expression. And so that's what it'll be. A place where everyone has the right to the freedom of opinions, without interference regardless of frontier. By being liberal with what content is allowed on the internet, this utopia is possible. A place where free speech can freely flow, where you can voice your opinions without fear, allowing knowledge and thoughts to be changed and strengthened, iron sharpening iron. However, not all speech must be allowed. A line has to be drawn. Stuff that assaults, defames, breaches privacy, provokes violence, and allows illicit content doesn't create a place of freedom, but a place of toxicity. 8chan is one of those examples, and it continues to hurt others in many ways. Thus, if we censor these sites, the internet won't only become a less toxic place, but a freer one too. By striving for the cyberspace, we'll have the best of both worlds. Free speech without the endangerment of individuals. Blocking toxic content without denying expression. The coin will stop spinning as it'll be both heads and tails. As Bill Gates said back in 1996, whose words still ring truer than ever, no scheme is perfect. Some questionable material will get through. But a system like this will work most of the time, and it's the best approach I can imagine that doesn't unduly interfere with the great benefits of the internet. Us Zoomers are the future generation that will take the reins of the world. So let's pursue for this cyberspace. Let's fight for it. Give internet censorship a run for its money. This is Oliver Kim going out, and thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys next time.